Intent versus reality. Most strategies begin with what someone wants to happen, what a leader wants, what the teams are told, what the customer's encouraged to do. But behaviour rarely begins there. Organisations carry a behavioural DNA, and if it's not edited, the same patterns keep appearing in new environments. Behaviours begin where the system becomes real, at the shelf, at the till, in the handoff, in time it takes, in the friction it adds. That's where strategy stops being stated and starts being tested, usually without being measured cleanly enough for the true error rate or the true win rate at the point of contact. Intent is a claim. Reality is what the system can actually carry. That distinction is where many strategies begin to weaken. Unverified assumptions look small when they are written. They become expensive when they are lived. More loyalty, better service, higher conversion, deeper engagement. These are intentions, not outcomes. A claim is not a path. Execution is the carrying agent. If the system cannot hold the claim cleanly, behaviour starts routing around it. That's not always resistance. It is often reality deciding what is the system can sustain. Behaviour doesn't respond to intent first. It responds to friction. Most strategies never get deep enough in the business to become materially real. It stays near the presentation and degrades as it moves outward. What is hard gets deferred. What is unclear gets shortened or inferred. What is awkward gets avoided. This is one of the greatest opportunities in business. The system may speak the strategy, but rarely internalise it in full. Leaders assume that the intent should survive the contact with friction. Often it does not. Authority is not the same as value. The customer does not buy the strategy. They buy the path of least friction to acceptable value. Availability decides more than persuasion. If the path is broken, encouragement arrives too late. A business can ask for behaviour all day long, join the program, build the basket, try the category, return sooner, but the customer is often moving the other way. Loyalty is thinning, defendable positions are narrowing, attention is crowded, purchasing power is tight, time pressure is rising. So if the product is missing, the handoff is weak, and the timing is poor, or the process breaks the flow, encouragement loses authority fast. And if the value gap is not clear enough, the customer will alter the choice. Availability is not a support layer, it's the first strategic hurdle. Distinct from friction, distinct from timing. Timing changes the meaning of the offer. The same strategy lands differently depending on when it meets the customer. Too early it feels irrelevant, too late it feels like drag. At the wrong moment, even a good offer becomes a cognitive tax. Strategies are often written statically, but behaviour unfolds in a sequence. The customer is not meeting the plan in abstraction. They are meeting inside a buying window under time pressure against competing options. The real question is not what happens next. It's what should happen next while the window is still open. That is the regime the customer lives in. As systems become more skilled, timing and the individual fit will matter more. Broad promotional windows will weaken. Timing will carry more of the strategy than the message itself. The system hears itself through plans. The customer hears it through lived experiences. This is where self-deception enters. An organisation can feel aligned because the message is clean, the documents are clean, the intention is clean. But the execution carries much more variance. Low decision environments are powerful for this reason. They reduce fatigue, they preserve clarity, they make clean actions easy to repeat. The customer is not judging the narrative, they are judging the encounter, how long it took, what was missing, what felt unclear, what required too much effort. The system may think it communicated well. The customer may experience something entirely different. Most strategic drift is not dramatic. It is the intent being eroded by repeated contact with reality. Viewed through the customer payoff, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Businesses spend too much time persuading and not enough time improving the payoff. That is a productivity black hole. Value is the fulcrum. A little bit of proximity, a little more trust, a better range, a faster response to market price. Each looks manageable in its own. Together they shape the behaviour the system gets back. That is the incremental value creation. That's why businesses can sound highly intentional and still produce weak outcomes. Their plan did not fail in theory, it failed in the contact. If you want to test the strategy, score reality. Do not score the message. Score the path against expectation. How much friction was added? What was unavailable? Where did timing miss? Where did the customer have to compensate? How often is the market structure telling you that the value offer is off the mark? Will the customer settle for proximity or alter destination with conviction? Neutrality is usually the starting position. So the real question is where the offer lost force before it reached the moment that mattered. This is where work gets sharper. Not whether the strategy was clear in theory, whether it survived the journey through the system and shifted the customer's position enough to justify the force applied. Reality leaves a measurable trace. It shows up in transaction signals of behaviour. Novelty has a texture. Attention is shortening. Deep value has velocity. Service quality may be expected, but markets trade that value away quickly when position is weak. Friction, delay, breakage and avoidance are all feedback on how fragile the strategy and the system really are. Map one intended behaviour, then trace where the reality weakened it. Was the item there? Was the moment right? Was the ask clean? Was the path easy enough to complete? Did the customer respond as intended, or did they route around the design? Once the trace is visible, intent stops being a story and becomes validation. Structure speaks louder than plans. Reality decides what the strategy really was. A plan may describe intention, only the customer can clear it. If the path breaks, the strategy does not survive in partial form. It is rewritten by friction, timing, absence, and weak value. That is a deeper lesson. Strategy is not what the business meant. It is what the reality allowed the customer to experience. So the question is no longer whether the plan was sound. It's whether the path was strong enough to be validated.